Hello everybody, I am Rivas Orion. I'm a TikToker and YouTuber, and you can find me at Phantom Universe. And Randall Carlson has recently contacted me to help him out with his team, and we're here to tell you guys about his upcoming event. So Randall, what are you guys getting ready to go do?
We're getting ready to do our second tour of the Cumberland Plateau that's found in eastern Tennessee. And we're going to be looking at some of the geology and natural history of the area. It's a very unique landscape. It's rather mysterious because a lot of folks don't see it because it's a lot of vegetation and foliage and trees and things. So
Mm-hmm.
we're going to go out there for about 4 days and explore this landscape before it gets leafed out and
Mm-hmm.
these unique features, which include cataracts and waterfalls and caves and rock arches and things, before they become obscured
Right. From all the
by the
foliage and leaves
vegetation.
and stuff. Right.
You
When
got
is
that.
it?
That's right. It's the 13th through the 17th.
Okay.
So it's coming up, but there are some tickets left. So we wanted to let people know that this is still happening.
How many spots are
Uh,
still open?
I think there's at least 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay. Awesome. So that sounds great. So let's look at some of the places you guys are going to be going to real quick.
Well, let's do that then. All right, this first waterfall here is called Burgess Falls.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be one of the features that we're going to be learning about. We're going to be looking at a lot of waterfalls here, actually, in this one, because as beautiful as waterfalls are and as inspiring and uplifting as they also have a very important and interesting part of this story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what we're going to be getting into somewhat, is looking at the origins of these waterfalls.
Right.
So this is Burgess Falls. That's one of the ones we'll be visiting. And then we're going to do Cane Creek Falls. That's this one here.
That looks cool.
Yeah. And then we will be doing Cummins Falls. One of the things that I want people to notice here is the very typical U shape that you find these
Right.
valleys right here. And that has to do, we'll learn about some hydrology in this tour, so that people understand why you have these unique horseshoe shaped alcoves here
Right.
so often.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Cummins Falls. And let's see, what else are we going to do? We're going to do Fall Creek Falls.
Yeah, I've seen this one
And
before. I've seen pictures of
yeah,
that one before.
yes. And again, you see the horseshoe shape,
Right.
you see the undercutting.
Yeah.
This
And
is
this is
all,
way bigger than what this picture really illustrates, right? This is very
oh, yes.
large. Yes.
It's very large, yes.
Right.
Yeah. And again, you can see here a lot of foliage and things.
Mm-hmm.
So it obscures some of the whole formation that if it was in another environment, a more arid environment, like in the
Mm-hmm.
western states,
Mm-hmm.
that you would see this very apparently. But for those people who've been on some of the Scablands tours with me and stuff, are very familiar now with the cataract shape that you
Right.
see here, the horseshoe
Yeah.
alcove shape feature like this. So this is Fall Creek Fall. And then we're going to do, let's see, Foster Falls. Okay. And all of these are, there's going to be some healthy hiking involved, but nothing too strenuous.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, for this one.
Not a lot of uphill, downhill. Is it mostly flat?
There'll be some uphill, downhill, but most of them are within a quarter mile to maximum of a mile
Okay.
to
That's not
get
bad.
access to.
Yeah.
No, not bad at all. Then we have Roaring River Falls,
Right.
and we'll be talking again about the unique geology that's here.
Like the cliff.
Oh, yeah.
That's right there. Yeah.
Yep. We'll be looking at that. Here's an example of something very interesting that we'll be seeing here. There's rock arches. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been to many, many rock arches around the country. And the origin of these rock arches is very interesting and almost certainly not a gradualistic or uniformitarian.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I wondered a lot about that until I saw rock arches in Grand Coulee in Washington that were made by extraordinary catastrophic floods on the scale of hundreds of millions of cubic feet per second.
Right.
So I had suspected for a long time that uniformitarian or gradualistic processes were not responsible for creating rock arches, because actually, Rivas, what you see is that when the rock arches that exist today, let me put it this way: we don't see rock arches actually being formed anywhere. The rock arches that we see are being slowly destroyed by the modern erosional processes.
I live in Virginia, and there's a natural bridge.
Yeah, the one that was owned by Thomas Jefferson.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's the right one.
Yeah. That's a very impressive feature, isn't it?
It is interesting. Very cool. So where are you going to be staying?
Well, we're going to be staying in a lodge. It's called Fall Creek Falls Lodge, and it's a brand new lodge. Let's have a look at it, because it's new, it's beautiful, it's centrally located, and we're going to use that as our base.
That looks awesome.
I think it just opened in late January.
Super fresh.
Yeah, super fresh. It's right there on the lake.
You're going to break it in, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Cool.
It's going to be a great place for meetings to gather as a group.
It's going to be like the hub, the base. That's where you're going to.
Yeah, this is going to be our base of operations for the 4 days, and part of a fifth.
Okay.
So that's where we're going to be staying. Fall Creek Falls Lodge and Resort. And one other place we're going to visit, I mentioned, just we like to mix it up a little bit, is All Saints Chapel in Sewanee, Tennessee. A beautiful example of late Gothic revival architecture. And we're going to be looking at, we're going to be paying a visit to that place, just because it's a very beautiful place. It's an example of Gothic art transplanted to American soil, and it's got some very interesting geometry in it, and it's in a very beautiful natural setting that's interesting in its own right, with a lot of caves and springs and the kinds of things that are oftentimes typically associated with sacred spots in other parts of the world. So yeah, this will be an interesting little contrast to the geology and natural history that we're going to be exploring. So I just wanted to let people know that this is going to be a little kind of a bonus.
Oh yeah, that sounds exciting.
So it'll give kind of almost the feeling of digressing over to Europe.
A little bit. I had no idea that this was in Tennessee.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, including me, until a number of years ago. I was looking for neo-Gothic architecture in America. And stumbled on this place.
That's a really cool. How old is it?
Well, it was started, I think, in the 1850s.
Okay.
It's not like 700 or 800 years old.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be that old, but like still.
But the architect who built it, that would be something if it was 700 or 800 years old.
I know, right?
Might
be like, wait a minute.
Require a little bit of historical revisionism.
Yeah, that's great. So, where can people sign up for this trip?
Just go to randallcarlson.com.
Okay.
Best place, randallcarlson.com. You got your 3 little bars. Click that. There'll be a drop-down menu, tours and events. Click on there. You'll see it. You'll get a banner, Mid-Cumberland Tour. Click on that. Everything you're going to need is going to be right there.
Awesome. Well, guys, we hope to see you there. There's a few spots left, so be sure, if you want to go, get those tickets ready, and we'll see you there. Later.
Good night, Rivas.
Good night, Randall.